or state, this may be the most important phone call you'll ever make.
I owed $87,000 in taxes. But listen.
Your tax problem is settled. You only owe $3,500.
What a great message.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, then you owe it to yourself to call this number. Let our experts help guide you through the process of negotiating a tax settlement. Call this number or go to tax10000.com.
We all know that movement is like medicine, but getting the movement you need to feel better can be a challenge. Now you can keep fit while you sit with QB, the world's leading compact seated elliptical. QB gives you active sitting, letting you burn calories and keep moving in an easy and low-impact way, all while you work, read, or watch TV. QB was named a top 10 gift by Time Magazine and has been featured all over the world. It's whisper quiet while it works your abs and core, hip flexors, glutes, quads, hamstrings, and calves.
QB is a lifesaver for me.
Here's your answer to your problem.
I feel young again.
Join the hundreds of thousands of people moving more with QB. Call to find out how to get your QB with free shipping and a 30-day completely risk-free trial. You'll also get this QB workout mat free. Now keep fit while you sit with QB.
To order, call 800-289-5820. That's 800-289-5820. Call now.
Good evening and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. We're going to start the week with the big lie and how Donald Trump is continuing to embarrass himself by whining about the election. Again, he lost by more than 7 million votes exactly 6 months to the day. It's also one of the things driving a huge wedge into the Republican Party. Ex-presidents, they typically write memoirs or they form foundations, but that's not Donald Trump. Thankfully, he's not forming a foundation. The one he used to have got shut down by the state of New York and was forced to pay millions in restitution because, what else? It illegally used the funds for political purposes. Donald J. Trump Foundation also used donations to buy a $20,000 portrait of, yes, you guessed it, Donald J. Trump. You can't make this up. Now, Trump is holed up at Mar-a-Lago and he's continuing to crash weddings or just air his grievances to anyone who will listen.
Let's see what they find. I wouldn't be surprised if they found thousands and thousands and thousands of votes. So we're going to watch that very closely. And after that, you'll watch Pennsylvania and you watch Georgia and you're going to watch Michigan and Wisconsin and you're watching New Hampshire. They found a lot of votes up in New Hampshire just now. You saw that? Because this was a rigged election. Everybody knows it. And we're going to be watching it very closely.
Kind of toast anyone who'd wanted a wedding. Now Trump is trying to co-opt the term the big lie, sending out this statement today saying the fraudulent presidential election of 2020 will be from this day forth known as the big lie. Again, he has no authority to call this that, and more importantly, no facts to support it whatsoever. But I digress. Liz Cheney, the number 3 Republican in the House, who's now fighting to keep that post because she had the temerity or the integrity to criticize Trump and his role in the Capitol riot, also voted to impeach him immediately after those riots. Well, she responded to Trump's statement on Twitter to say the following: the 2020 presidential election was not stolen. Anyone who claims it was is spreading the big lie, turning their back on the rule of law, and poisoning our democratic system. Plus, you got CNN reporting now that Cheney spoke behind closed doors at a conference in Georgia, and she had the following to say, quote, "We can't embrace the notion that the election is stolen. It's a poison in the bloodstream of our democracy. We can't whitewash what happened on January 6th or perpetrate Trump's big lie. It is a threat to democracy. What he did on January 6th is a line that cannot be crossed." Cheney has been feuding with GOP leader in the House, Kevin McCarthy, and that spat became even more public during a GOP retreat in Orlando just last week. Take a listen to what McCarthy said when he was asked whether Cheney should remain in leadership.
Is Cheney still a good fit for your leadership team, do you believe?
That's a question for the conference.
But what do you believe? What do you believe?
I think from a perspective, if you're sitting here at a retreat that's focused on policy and focused on the future of making America the next century, and you're talking about something else, you're not being productive.
It should be noted McCarthy allies there are now saying Cheney is losing support of the caucus and will likely get stripped of her leadership post at some point in the not too distant future. Now would be a good time to remind you of McCarthy's epic flip-flop when it comes to Trump and the riot. Take a listen to McCarthy the night of the riots on January 6th.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
Okay, so really clear. He says the buck stops with the president on one of the worst days in modern American history. But now, here's the same Mr. McCarthy just last week on Fox News Sunday.
When I talked to President Trump about, I was the first person to contact him when the riots was going on. He didn't see it. What he ended the call was telling me he'll put something out to make sure to stop this. And that's what he did. He put a video out later.
Quite a lot later. And it was a pretty weak video. But I'm asking you specifically, did he say to you, I guess some people are more concerned about the election than you are?
No, listen, my conversations with the president are my conversations with the president. I engaged in the idea of making sure we could stop what was going on inside the Capitol at that moment in time, and the president said he would help.
Let me just give a little bit of context. The idea that the president of the United States, who watched more cable news than any human being on the planet, let alone a president, was unaware a riot was ongoing, A, and B, by Republican eyewitness accounts, members of Congress, McCarthy was dropping F-bombs and receiving them from the president when he said that the Congress was being overrun, and Trump basically said, hey, more people care about my election than you do. That he did the flip-flop of the proportions that you just saw says all you need to know about Kevin McCarthy and, well, let's just say his integrity. Mitt Romney, he's also continuing to be on the receiving end of flack from the Trumpers. Here he is getting booed at a Republican convention in his home state of Utah this weekend.
Now, you know me as a person who says what he thinks, and I don't hide the fact that I wasn't a fan of our last president's character issues. And I'm also no fan... Aren't you embarrassed? And I'm also no fan of the president's... Yeah, sure.
My friends, this is the moment I was talking about. Please, thank you, show respect.
Romney voted to convict Trump in both impeachment. He also pushed back against the lie that the election was stolen. Of course it wasn't. Take a listen to fellow GOP Senator Susan Collins defending her fellow colleague Mitt Romney.
I was appalled. Mitt Romney is an outstanding senator who serves his state and our country well. We Republicans need to remember that we are united by fundamental principles. We are not a party that is led by just one person. And I think that all of us who abide by those principles should remember Ronald Reagan's admonition to Republicans that the person who agrees with you 70 or 80% of the time is your friend, not your enemy.
Seems that she should probably pass that message on directly to McCarthy and friends. Now, Republican state parties, they're trying to punish Republicans who joined Romney in voting to impeach Donald Trump, let alone to condemn him. More than a dozen of them have voted to censure those people, and this chart shows you the ones who were censured and also the ones who were not. Even though Mitt Romney was booed off the stage in Utah, he escaped censure as they didn't have the votes. Now, I close this segment with a quote from George W. Bush. Again, the former president, a Republican, on what else here but the insanity that is a Republican Party. He said this in a podcast, and I'm going to quote, I know this, that if the Republican Party stands for exclusivity, that used to be country clubs, now evidently it's white Anglo-Saxon Protestantism, then it's not going to win anything. I wonder who's listening to those warnings. Up next, a former federal prosecutor says that Rudy Giuliani's legal troubles, they are Trump's, and Rudy could flip on Trump to save his own skin.
Are you over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. Call now for this free book on maximizing your income in retirement. Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers from leading financial firm J.D. Mellberg. That's right, free. This book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known truths we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity, and it's free. Call 800-851-7261. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched numerous products and summarized rates and benefits of annuities, all from Silac Insurance Company. Call 800-851-7261. That's 800-851-7261. Call.
Help. When you fall and can't get help,
Help.
You will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-215-6582. That's 1-800-215-6582. Call now. 1-800-215-6582.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
The Justice Department ratcheting up its case against Rudy Giuliani as it now pours through the electronic devices and other materials it took from his both home and office during the early morning raid last week. The DOJ, they're investigating whether or not Rudy broke any federal laws with his dealings in Ukraine when he was Trump's personal attorney, while obviously Trump sat in the Oval. Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former personal attorney who flipped on his one-time boss, says Rudy could and probably will do the same.
Rudy, I told you so. I told you so.
What do you mean? What did you tell him?
Well, what I told him was that Donald Trump doesn't care about anyone or anything, that he will be the next one to be thrown under the bus. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Prior to Donald becoming president, Rudy didn't like Donald, and Donald certainly didn't like Rudy. So do I think Rudy will give up Donald in a heartbeat? Absolutely.
Trump, at least for now, is still defending Giuliani.
Rudy Giuliani is a great patriot. He does these things. He just loves this country. And they raid his apartment. It's like so unfair and such a it's like a double standard like I don't think anybody's ever seen before. It's very, very unfair. Rudy is a patriot who loves this country.
Rudy himself, he's going on offense, doing interviews on friendly programs like Tucker Carlson's.
The reality is that that warrant is completely illegal. The only way you can get a search warrant is if you can show that there's some evidence that the person is going to destroy the evidence or is going to run away with the evidence. Well, I've had it for 2 years and I haven't destroyed it. And they also got it from the iCloud.
I want to bring in my next guest to discuss. He just penned a piece in Politico magazine with the following headline: Giuliani's legal trouble is Trump's too. To save himself, the president's former lawyer might have to spill damning secrets. Renato Mariotti, he's also a former federal prosecutor. I want to get into this, but Rudy is not, some guy who had a shingle outside his door and didn't know any better. He's a former U.S. attorney, Renato. I mean, the idea, and I love how it was spun here that Rudy's doing this out of patriotic duty and love of country. Rudy was compensated very handsomely for this process all the way along. I mean, it is a stunning fall from grace regardless of how this case shakes out.
Well, that's right. I mean, putting aside the fact that he was a presidential candidate, was a beloved mayor, America's mayor, celebrated national figure, putting all that aside, he was, as you put it, the United States attorney for the Southern District of New York, not just some person who got hired as a federal prosecutor, but literally the lead federal prosecutor. So he knows better. Like when he went on television and said that you need to get a search warrant, you need evidence that the person's destroying what's inside the premises. That's false. That is absolutely false. And he knows better. Any criminal defense attorney or a former prosecutor would know that. I think Rudy Giuliani has really gotten himself in a lot of trouble.
We saw what Michael Cohen had to say. Given the track record of Trump and Rudy and their, let's say, short loyalty spans, if you follow their recent histories, if Rudy wants to cooperate, or better, needs to cooperate with this probe, he's probably got a lot of things that the feds would like to hear.
Yeah, look, I think at a certain point, Giuliani is going to likely get there. I mean, think about what happened with Cohen, right? At a certain point, Trump was like, who's Michael Cohen? Or, I don't know. He has no idea who Michael Cohen is or what he's doing. Yet he was somebody who was attached to Trump's hip for quite some period of time. Somebody who was as close as anyone was to Trump. I don't think for a minute that Trump is going to take some sort of fall for Rudy or put himself in a difficult position for Rudy. And that's really where Giuliani's going to have to go in order to defend himself here. He's really, what he needs is Trump to take the stand and say, I knew what Giuliani was doing. I instructed him to do all of that. He was doing all of it at my direction. And who believes for a minute that Trump's going to put himself and stick his neck out there, put himself out there for Rudy like that? I don't see that happening. And that means that Giuliani's going to be in a tough position. And I think his interests at a certain point are going to be adverse to Trump's.
And, I mean, if anybody should know better, he was warned reportedly going back to 2019 by the feds that he was a target of basically misinformation campaigns on the part of Ukrainians, but really through Russian interests, etc. He was warned, apparently he disregarded that. And again, we come back to Rudy aligning himself and what we saw during the campaign. This is not, whatever anybody says, Rudy's not a dumb guy. It's just shocking to me, Renato, that he kept putting himself in these kind of positions and aligning himself with somebody who had a track record over the course of just his presidency of, forget about contorting the law, tearing it apart and cutting loose anyone who was a loose end.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to seriously question Giuliani's judgment. I've been in TV studios with Mr. Giuliani and watched him sort of wing it and answer questions on the fly about an investigation into his client that was, of course, the president of the United States, extremely important matter. I really got the sense that the guy wasn't prepared at all, was just making stuff up as he went along. We all remember him caught in a hotel room, right, by a prankster, Borat or whatever, and in a compromising situation. I really think that, he is somebody who has been very foolish and foolhardy in his behavior and reckless, making false statements to judges during the January 6th, the run up to that, where he was in court trying to overturn the election results. So just a lot of very poor choices by Giuliani. And really, he deserves to have his reputation torched by this. The question remains, of course, there's a big difference between being disgraced and being in prison. And I think it will be interesting to see how that develops, because when the feds come and raid your apartment and steal your devices away to make images of them for evidence, that's a bad sign, and it means that you may very well be seeing the inside of a prison cell someday.
And Renato, first of all, it's probably not wise he's continuing doing interviews even on Fox News here. I know if you were counseling me, you wouldn't be advising him to be in front of the public eye any more than he already is. But give an idea to some of the things that the feds may have been looking for, and if there is digital evidence of it. Is this more of the fraud variety that he should be concerned about, and not, obviously reporting income here, et cetera? What's the big exposure for Rudy?
Well, we know, for example, that he was really involved in the thick of this Ukrainian matter that ultimately was a touch point for that first impeachment inquiry. And he was, for example, involved in pushing Trump to fire the ambassador to Ukraine. And what the New York Times, I know, had reported was essentially that what the feds are looking at is whether or not he was actually lobbying on behalf of Ukrainian officials and oligarchs without revealing that, which is problematic on a number of levels. On one level, you have to disclose when you're a foreign agent and you're conducting lobbying activities. So that's the criminal law angle. But it's also very problematic if you're lobbying your client, the president of the United States, to do things in order for your own self-interest without disclosing that to the client. So very problematic. And I suspect what the feds are looking for in those devices, in part, are going to be communications, because those devices usually even contain remnants of deleted communications. There'll be metadata there. There could even be location information. A lot of data that can help fill in the blanks for prosecutors who may only have limited windows thus far into some of Rudy's prior communications.
Now, I'm going to ask you to take a leap here, but it seems to me that there wasn't a great appetite within the Biden administration and even Merrick Garland to go down this road unless one would think there was compelling evidence that that the feds thought they were going to get their hands on. They weren't just going on a fishing expedition here for all the political considerations, and at least the Biden folks seeming to say that they wanted to move on from this, A. And B, you've said this before, but just to get this across to the audience, the only person can really keep Rudy, assuming that there is digital evidence they're out of hot water, is Trump. And Trump has shown no indication here that he's going to be taking a bullet for anybody, especially since pardons weren't advanced here at the end of the Trump term for either of these two players. So the only card Rudy would have to play is to say, no. The president completely was in the loop on this. In fact, he directed me to do as followed here. I wasn't acting as some rogue agent as much as he's leading you to believe. This seems like it's headed for that kind of a conclusion. It's a he said, he said.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think just to be crystal clear, I think his best defense is I was directed to do all of this by the president of the United States. So I was acting in the United States' best interest and was advancing U.S. interest, not foreign interest, because I was doing what the president wanted. That I think has to be his position. I don't think Trump is going to want to move his lips on the witness stand and swear an oath and say that, which is what's going to put Giuliani in a very difficult situation. Because if Trump denies it and is like, I don't know, you'll have to talk to Rudy, I didn't know what was going on, that puts Rudy in a very difficult position. I think he has to point the finger at Trump. And, regarding this situation for Rudy, I think that the reality of the situation for him is he's put himself in a spot where he almost has to rely on Trump. Unless he's got some other card to play, some sort of written communications, if all he has is just all of his phone calls with Trump, he really is essentially, like, as you say, he said with Trump.
If I had told anybody 5 years ago that Michael Cohen would have more legal credibility than Rudy Giuliani, I could have gotten great odds on that one. But at this point, it's pretty hard to argue with that statement. Renato, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, a segment we like to call So Right They're Wrong. Tonight's edition featuring on one man, Tucker Carlson. After the break, we're going to show you how the Fox News host is spreading lunatic theories and comments that aren't just totally off the wall, they're downright dangerous.
As your AC busted, computer crashed, appliance broken? Then you need ARW, American Residential Warranty.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty. Home appliance repairs and replacement can cause stress and cost you over $3,000 per year. But starting at less than $1 a day, ARW has home warranty plans that cover household appliances, systems, and electronics. Parts and labor included. When I needed ARW, they were there. My oven actually took a dive in the middle of making a big dinner for family and friends, picked up the phone, called ARW, they repaired it, dinner saved, that easy.
My air conditioning broke on a Sunday. It was so hot. I called ARW and they came out and fixed it right away.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, even pools and spas, and so much more. All you have to do is call or go to getahomeplan.com. Plus, ARW's partnered with Assurant to offer protection for all your new and used household electronics for just one low price.
I dropped my laptop and ARW replaced it with a brand new one, and all I paid was a small service fee.
All plans are fully customizable and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get a home security system valued at $1,250 free with any plan. And you can trust ARW to be there when you need it. Just call ARW and a licensed technician will be dispatched to your home. All covered repairs are guaranteed.
My refrigerator broke, and not only did ARW repair it fast, they even sent me a reimbursement check for all the food that went bad.
So come on, relax. Stop worrying about unexpected breakdowns and costly repairs. Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
Call 1-800-253-1237. Again, that's 1-800-253-1237 or log on to getahomeplan.com today.
This is a national healthcare alert from the 24/7 Diabetic Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one has diabetes, listen closely. Now, regardless of your age, if you have insurance, you may qualify to receive diabetic testing supplies with little to no out-of-pocket cost. Get free delivery, free information, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers for free. Call the 24/7 Diabetic Health Hotline now for details. Toll free at this number. But wait, there's more. If you call right now, you could get a meter upgrade. In addition, we'll give you a free pair of diabetic socks as our special gift to you. Regardless of your age, if you suffer with diabetes and have insurance, you may qualify to get free delivery of your supplies. Call now. We can help.
Call 1-800-972-0451. 1-800-972-0451. That's 1-800-972-0451. Call now.
And welcome back. In this edition of So Right, They're Wrong, we're going to focus on one man in particular, Tucker Carlson. Let's start off with this clip of Tucker telling his viewers to confront people who wear masks outdoors.
And you see them everywhere when you walk down the street in any major city. If you dare to go on foot from Union Station to the Capitol, for example, in Washington without wearing a mask, angry Biden voters will snort at you in judgment. How could you, they're saying from behind the gauze. How could you? That's the question we should be asking of them in return. The rest of us should be snorting at them first. They're the aggressors. It's our job to brush them back and restore the society we were born in. So the next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, and we should keep doing it until wearing a mask outside is roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator. It's repulsive. Don't do it around other people.
I want to now read from an op-ed piece in USA Today with the headline, Fox News should fire Tucker Carlson before his bullying on COVID masks gets someone killed. Fox News is courting death in danger by giving Tucker Carlson a platform to incite strangers to confront and harass mask wearers. He went on a stranger on a bicycle coming from the opposite direction, slowed down as he approached. I thought maybe he knew me, but instead he shouted, "You got a mask on." "Yeah, I got a bleeping mask. You want me to shove it down your throat?" Now, but what really worries me is that Carlson's dangerous rhetoric is inciting viewers, like the man who accosted me, to take action against mask wearers. I was lucky. Last summer, a police report in Little Rock, Arkansas, said a 64-year-old woman was assaulted for wearing a mask in public. In her statement to the police, the woman said she was struck in the face with a closed fist and knocked to the ground. Now, Tucker wasn't done, though. He also went after parents who had the audacity to have their children wear masks.
As for forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you are morally obligated to attempt to prevent it. If it's your own children being abused, then act accordingly. Let's say your kid's school emailed you to announce that every day after lunch, your 6th grader was going to get punched in the face by a teacher. How would you respond to that? That's precisely how you should respond when they tell you that your kids have to wear masks on the soccer field. That is unacceptable, it is dangerous, and we should act like it, because it is. But too few of us have responded like that. We have been shamefully passive in the face of all of this.
It should be noted that everything you heard was obviously not just complete insanity and stupidity. It is also, as you can imagine, extremely dangerous. Now, the Daily Beast spoke with many, both current and former Fox employees, who said Tucker is here to stay no matter what he says on the air. Staffers telling the Beast that, quote, Tucker is invincible and untouchable, and he'll never suffer any ramifications. Another said he's a good example of how much you can get away with at Fox if your ratings are high. And a former Fox host, Juliet Huddy, says Fox cares nothing about integrity, character, decency. The dirty little secret is that FNC doesn't care about losing advertisers. They make their money via cable conglomerates. Well, my next guest, he just wrote a piece for Media Matters with the headline, Tucker Carlson is the face of Fox News. It's time for advertisers to decide if they want to bankroll extremism. Senior fellow Matthew Gertz, he joins us right now. And Matt, you know, I had a conversation with Carl Cameron, who was a longtime Fox guy, and he said he doesn't recognize his old place. But for me, Roger Ailes got pushed. Obviously, we saw what happened to Bill O'Reilly got pushed. Tish Reagan got pushed. Why is there a different set of rules for Tucker Carlson than there seemed to have been for others where there were lines?
Well, I mean, I think that over time, Tucker Carlson has just been testing and testing and testing to see if Fox executives would, force him to walk anything back, impose any sort of restraints upon him. And they really haven't. He is a favorite of Lachlan Murdoch and Rupert Murdoch, the heads of the network, and they are inclined to let him do whatever he wants. It is their fault and their responsibility to reel him in. They're not doing it. And it's at least in part because they think that he is still a moneymaker for them.
And I want to get into the money aspect, but to put a button on what you just heard from our guests, it's, listen, the Anti-Defamation League recently said him pushing this replacement theory, if it sounds like code, you don't have to, it's not code. That's exactly what the white nationalists and some of the Nazi tropes have been over the years, that same phrase. They not only said, no, his job's safe, they've put him on basically every show. They've given him every primetime slot, and they've made sure that he is an untouchable there. It's clear. It doesn't matter what he says. According to the Murdochs, he's the golden boy.
Yeah, the Murdochs have decided that the Jews will not replace him. He has become the ubiquitous presence on the network as a way of building audience, especially after the election when that was in jeopardy a little bit. Trump had turned on Fox, told his supporters to go on Newsmax, go on OAN instead. They figured out that they could try to keep their audience coming back by running clips of Tucker's show up and down the news lineup, and that's what they did.
I'm not going to do justice to some of the garbage, or at least the volume of it that he's done, but I'll just rattle off a few here, Matt, and tell me what I'm missing. But he's been chief among the skeptics of the vaccine. He's defended, remember Kyle Rittenhouse, the kid who had no legal right to cross state lines with an assault weapon and killed somebody, even though he was both underage and unlicensed to even carry the gun, let alone to kill somebody in cold blood. He defended that. He also has said things that have been deemed not only to be anti-black, anti-trans. He's been consistently against immigrants of any shape or form. He lied about the riots on January 6th. He minimized what happened there, and he lied about who was participatory, etc. I can keep going on here, but this is not a one-off. Seemingly every month he goes deeper and deeper into the white nationalist rabbit hole.
Yeah, he is a full-fledged conspiracy theorist at this point. And I think one of the more unnerving things about this is he's also one of the most influential forces on the Republican Party. Republican politicians listen to what he has to say, and they're increasingly adopting it. You're seeing his rhetoric about replacement theory begin to get picked up by Republican senators and congressmen. And this is the sort of thing that you used to have to go to the dark places of the internet to hear about. But now a Fox News host is spewing that vile rhetoric every night on his television show.
Here's the thing that makes it even worse for me, Matt. It's not that I know Tucker personally, but there are some really dim bulbs if you turn on Fox that I really believe what they're saying. Tucker Carlson was at CNN. He said at the time, and you did this in your reporting, he would never conceivably work at Fox News because of how ugly and hateful their stuff was. He worked at PBS. He worked at MS. Only when he was on the beach would he take any job that Fox would throw him here. And this is a recent conversion to the all-out crazy. My point is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I believe he knows better, and he's just doing this because he can see the ratings at the end of the night.
Yeah, I don't know whether he knows better. What worries me is that his viewers don't know better. When he talks about the invasion of migrants across the southern border, when he talks about how the migrants are making the country poorer and dirtier, and it's all a plot to replace the electorate, his viewers are listening to that. And we've seen rhetoric like that spur real acts of violence, of domestic terrorism in this country in the last few years. And giving that sort of language a bigger platform is really quite dangerous.
And we've seen here, as you report, that these, oath keepers and these fringe groups here, they look at Tucker Carlson as a megaphone for what they've been saying, that finally they're being taken seriously, or that they're being heard and their messaging is getting promoted. Now, so then I get to, I've always thought that, Matt, one of the big mistakes is that you're not gonna, get the attention until you hit the almighty buck. And I thought it was interesting, and I've been dealing with some of the folks that have tried to push back on the corporate level with voter infringement. Advertisers have been staying away from Tucker Carlson's show, at least the direct show that's on Prime, and they've, as they say, voted with their feet. He still is protected, and it's not based off of revenue he showed in success, it's the rating. But I remember Glenn Beck got bounced because they couldn't make any money off his show. Why is it different with Tucker Carlson? They both had ratings, but both of them aren't getting the anchor sponsors, so there's only so many buy golds and, disaster meal plans you can buy. How's he still the golden child when Beck wasn't?
Yeah, so his show itself is pretty empty right now. It's basically ads for Mike Lindell's MyPillow, the right-wing pillow company, and, sort of direct-to-consumer products. All of the blue-chip advertisers left a year ago or more. On the other hand, because he gets such ratings, Fox has started moving him around to other shows. He's become a regular guest on other programs. And as I said earlier, they're taking clips from his shows and running them basically as news items during their other programming. So I think what that says is if you're advertising on Fox right now, you are advertising for Tucker Carlson. Your money is going to support his extremism, and it's time for advertisers to take that into account and act accordingly and pull their dollars from the network altogether.
Matt Gertz, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everyone, when we come back, we got a new low when it comes to the rights of transgender Americans and the protections that seem to be disappearing by the day in state after state. You're going to hear from a father trying to protect his own kid. He's arrested in the Arkansas State House right in the middle of his testimony denouncing a bill that would hurt his child and countless others.
Shake your legs, shake your abs, shake your butt, shake up your entire body to a slim, firm, and sexy new you with PowerFit Elite, the breakthrough multi-directional vibration platform that helps engage all your muscles from the moment you step on it. PowerFit uses multi-directional vibration to create muscle confusion and rapidly contract and relax your muscles to help you get fit and stay fit.
It's intense. You really feel your whole body working. You could be watching TV, but you do feel the workout.
It works you out where you don't feel like you're working out. It's actually a lot of fun.
Each traditional exercise that you do on PowerFit Elite can help sculpt, transform, and redefine your body from head to toe. The secret is the multi-directional vibration technology that causes muscle confusion and forces them to contract and counter-challenge you. Your muscles work hard so you can stabilize and maintain your balance. There are 3 standing positions: walking, jogging, and then running. Plus, there are 3 different program levels for workouts to choose from, so you can really customize your workout. PowerFit Elite can help improve your energy, burn calories, tone your body, define your abs, work your arms, strengthen your legs, boost your buttocks, and so much more. And for an even more intense workout, add resistance bands for bicep curls, forward lateral raises, and crisscross pulls. It's time to join the new fitness revolution that's shaking up the world. Call or go online now and you can try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days for only $14.95. But wait, order right now and we'll upgrade you to the deluxe set that includes the complete workout guide, the power bands, and the handy remote control. That's an over $80 value free. Try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days. And if it's not the best workout system you've used, just return it for a refund of your trial price. But hold everything, we'll also add our healthy eating plan to help you achieve your best possible results free. Try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days for only $14.95 and experience the power of extreme vibration. Order.
After an auto accident, insurance companies will fight hard to avoid paying you. At Vocate Legal, we believe in fighting smarter. We know how insurance companies think, and that's why we use our experience-based strategy to outsmart them. Our accomplished attorneys have the knowledge, skills, and track record to pursue better legal outcomes at no upfront cost to you. Call us today or visit vocate.com for a free consultation.
Vocate Legal, fight smarter.
And welcome back. On this program, we have spoken quite a bit in recent months about how red states are rolling back the rights of transgender people, with Arkansas leading the way by becoming the first state to flat out ban minors from receiving treatments that help them transition. Now, the debate in Arkansas became heated and emotional, and perhaps the low point was when a father who was trying to protect the rights of his child got arrested at the State House simply because he went 30 seconds over his allotted time to speak.
I'm a father in Arkansas, not a lawyer in California. Before I speak to the committee, I would like to address the transgender youth of the state of Arkansas as a real father does, a real father of a transgender child. No matter what happens here today, you are loved. You are loved. No matter what happens today, we will prevail over this injustice. I come here today knowing full well that nothing I say will persuade this committee. You're hell-bent on passing this bill and running it through the rest of the legislature. You know that this bill is unconstitutional and will not survive federal courts. The Supreme Court has already found that transgender Americans are protected from discrimination. Justice Neil Gorsuch, joined by 5 Supreme Court justices who still sit on the court, that's 6, that's a majority, wrote that it's impossible to discriminate against a person for being transgender without discriminating based on sex. And discrimination based on sex violates our U.S. Constitution. You know this bill will further stagnate our state's economy. Diversity and inclusion are good for business. Discrimination imposes enormous productivity costs and exerts undue burdens. No economy in the history of the world has flourished under policies of hatred. Business will leave this state. New business will not come to this state. Remember North Carolina? As a business owner who pays tens of thousands of dollars in taxes to this state and who employs transgender workers, I am offended that you would squander our limited taxpayer resources paying lawyers to defend this infantile nonsense in federal court. Many of you claim to live according to the Bible and your Christian religion. So you have certainly read Romans 16:33, in which Paul asks, who knows the mind of the Lord? Those of you who would pass this bill into the full House claim to know the mind of God. There are more genders than you are aware of. There are more biological sex than you are aware of. You do not know the mind of God. I sit before you as a father.
Your time is
every
up.
constituent who votes or who will vote,
Your
is a
time
parent
is up.
or a child. Every person affected by this bill.
Your time is up. Would you move him from one table? You had 2 minutes like everyone else. Your time is up, sir.
I should note a few things. Previous speakers had gone past their time allotments without law enforcement being brought in. This is now passed in that I'm sure it will be challenged in the courts, but Arkansas passes. This video just became available. It came out, his address was in March, and we knew in the subsequent weeks it eventually became law banning these transgender rights in Arkansas. But as you said, this is playing out in many states across this country, and eventually, you got to figure, the high court will weigh in on it yet again. And up next, before Nomadland was an Academy Award-winning movie, it was a book. And I spoke with its author. That conversation straight ahead.
The first 3 months, we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me over $6,000 in engine repairs.
I saved $4,100 out of pocket.
Amazing, amazing.
Customers everywhere agree. If your car is out of warranty, you need to call CarShield before your car has an expensive breakdown.
Without CarShield, there was no way that I could afford to get my car fixed.
An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown could cost you thousands of dollars, but not with CarShield, America's #1 car protection provider.
CarShield saved us $4,000. That was great, right?
Yes, it was.
We're just happy with CarShield. They put a transmission in it and a motor. Who does that?
CarShield makes sure you don't have to pay for expensive car repairs.
The components that we're using are not getting cheaper. So nowadays, coverage is even more important.
CarShield covers most makes and models from 5,000 to 150,000 miles.
It's easy, affordable, and no long-term contracts.
And when customers realize that they're getting a $5,000 job for $100, they're excited. I've had customers who were so happy that they did break down into tears and cry.
We saved over $6,000 on a complete engine rebuild of our truck.
With CarShield, I saved over $3,600. It's a no-brainer.
I never have to worry about being taken advantage of when it comes to car repairs.
It's like having a suit of armor around my car.
Cars will break down, and those breakdowns could cost you thousands unless you call CarShield today and get the protection you deserve.
CarShield saved me in excess of $10,000.
And when you call, you'll also receive at no extra cost roadside assistance, towing services, and rental coverage.
If your car's out of warranty, believe me, you want to have CarShield.
Make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed. And once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-858-4214, 800-858-4214.
This is important news for people who have taken Zantac or its generic ranitidine and then suffered from cancer. Zantac and generic ranitidine have been linked to cancers. Zantac and ranitidine contain NDMA, a known cancer-causing agent. If you or a loved one took Zantac or generic ranitidine and were then diagnosed with bladder cancer, kidney cancer, or any of these cancers, call Davis & Crump right now to see if you're eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Operators are standing by.
You are one of those lucky people that can travel anywhere.
Yes, ma'am, I know.
And they sometimes call you nomads.
My mom says that you're homeless. Is that true?
No, I'm not homeless. I'm just houseless. Not the same thing, right?
No.
That's a clip from Nomadland. It's the movie that just won 3 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actress for Frances McDormand. Now, the story is of Americans living as nomads on the margins, and it was a book before it was adapted into a movie. I spoke with its author, Jessica Bruder, when the book came out a couple years ago. Well, honestly, a really terrific book, and both, I think, eye-opening, at least for me, and really timely, even given the recent news cycle. To that end, how did you discover about such a much bigger population than I imagine of these kind of senior or adult age nomads that are going across the country in RVs, vans, and a lot of things in between?
Yeah, I actually learned about it. It's a little boring, but I'm an avid reader, and I read a lot about labor in the digital age. And I was reading a story about working in an Amazon warehouse, and I swear there were 2 paragraphs where somebody approached the reporter and said, yeah, I'm here because I live in an RV and I can't afford to retire, and there's a whole program for people like us. And after I read that, the story just kind of continued, but I got stuck there. My jaw dropped. And that was how I learned about Amazon's Camper Force program, which hires from this population, and how I started doing research into the thousands of employers who hire this wandering population of folks who are usually near or at retirement age and roving all over the country working.
And I want to come back to Amazon in a little bit, but and maybe if you talk about with some of the principles that you introduce us to in the book, including Linda May. So a lot of people think out there, hey, 2008, you know, obviously we saw the market crash, a lot of our 401ks took a beating, but that was then, this is now, it hurt. But for a lot of people, that was a hugely defining moment, especially if they were getting up there in age and it changed. A lot of their homes were underwater, a lot of homes that went into foreclosure. People who had productive, adult, working lives found themselves in an untenable situation, and that's how we meet a lot of these people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for many people, the Great Recession still hasn't ended and probably won't end. A lot of people who plan to retire on the equity in their homes and really couldn't wait for the market to get better. A lot of people who lost their retirement savings in the market. They are definitely among the people I found out there on the road. Folks for whom traditional housing just wasn't affordable anymore, who never really imagined that they'd be living, you know, in a nomadic way.
You know, one of the guys that I remember vividly from the book is Chuck. Chuck was a former VP. Things don't go right, and now we find him literally selling burgers and hot dogs at spring training games. It's interesting. Everybody's different. You can't cast a wide net, but they don't consider themselves homeless. They're more houseless, and they're kind of like modern-day itinerant workers. Talk about not only his story, but so many others that you find, and what's common about them.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is there are people who had it all together, had the best laid plans, and then lost it in 2008. And they also intersect with another group of workers who have been working low-wage jobs all their lives and haven't been able to put away those retirement savings. Wages are stagnant, housing prices are going up. It's really a perfect storm economically.
You know, one of the people you focus on a lot in your book is Linda May, and what I think people got to read the book for themselves, but you come across that she doesn't feel sorry for herself. In many ways, she feels liberated what she's doing, but here she is having left, basically sleeping on the couch with her kid, with the grandkids there, setting out on the road, and she's got a vehicle where the check engine light doesn't even work anymore, and she's cleaning toilets as part of her job right now. She may have a sunny disposition, but I'm worried, what happens when the car goes out? What happens when her back goes out? There's such a vulnerability with her and so many people we meet in your book.
Absolutely, and it's really scary because a lot of them, are, including Linda, are still trucking, and Linda's doing quite well. But, you know, a woman I speak with all the time who's a van dweller, she was parked near an older guy in an RV just recently, and he seemed like he was really on the margins, hoping to get some family in to help him. And she hadn't seen him in a few days, and then there were flies on the screens, and he is not with us anymore.
And obviously that brings us to where we are in our national dialogue. We obviously saw the tax proposals both in the House and more recently in the Senate. And one thing we do know is we're going to see cutting at the social safety net, and the gap between have and have-nots are going to get even larger. There's little debate among anyone that's going to be the net conclusion when this thing's all said and done. To that end, I was at a conference lately, a Foursquare one, where among the takeaways with automation, even these kind of jobs that these folks are traveling from state to state to find for subsistence here, that's going to even go away to a certain point. It's a little bit of foreshadowing what we're looking with this thousands and thousands of people in this population. This could be what we're looking like at more of a bigger normal for too many people, right?
It's already become a bigger normal. When I first started reporting the book about, in 2013, I went to this event, I guess the following year, 2014, called the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, which is a skill share for people who are mobile and they go out to the desert and show each other how to live on the road. There were maybe 60 rigs there. Apparently last winter there were 500 rigs there.
You mentioned Amazon, and to be fair, they've set up almost a community and stuff where these folks come around to. Did you walk away at the end just going to say to yourself, wow, this is really collaborative what they've created here, or are they taking advantage of a captive audience and putting them to work, albeit at some very low salaries here because, you know, they figured out, hey, we've got an intelligent workforce, I can get them on the cheap?
They definitely have an intelligent workforce on the cheap. I mean, there's no other way to interpret it. Whether or not you think it's exploitative depends on how cynical you are about the economy. I really believe that with the economy we've created, this is kind of the logical conclusion of it. But definitely it's in Amazon's best interest to do this. These are plug-and-play workers. They go away and then the company has no responsibility for them. It really is an employer's dream. And in my mind, a working nightmare.
Right. The book, again, is called Nomadland, and it's Surviving America in the 21st Century. Jessica Bruder, really interesting read, and I, again, appreciate a few minutes with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Villains, robbers, bandits, crooks, they're all over your TV screen. But the biggest thieves are behind your screen. I'm talking about the cable companies. They charge monthly subscriptions, fees, rentals, and force you to take long-term contracts. Well, it's time to say goodbye to the cable guy, because now you can watch 4K Ultra HD broadcast TV for free. Introducing Clear TV's new 4K Ultra HD design, the Premium HD. Just plug it into your TV and start watching for free. You will instantly receive top-rated network shows, local news and weather, sporting events, and even Ultra HD 4K broadcast shows, all for free. Thanks to a federal government mandate, all broadcasters are required to transmit a digital TV signal through the airwaves. The new Premium Clear TV lets you bypass cable or satellite to bring network and 4K broadcast shows directly to your television. Retract the antenna to keep it small or extend them for maximum reception.
Setup was so easy. I took my Clear TV antenna, plugged it into the back of the TV, and now I can watch my favorite broadcast channels anywhere in the house for free.
We're just off the coast here in the Gulf of Mexico receiving free network broadcast HD TV. Imagine all the free shows you'll receive at home.
Basic cable and satellite services can cost you up to $80 a month. That's $960 a year and almost $10,000 over a 10-year period. Watch TV in as many rooms as you like with no additional monthly fees. Stop spending money you don't have to spend. Call or go online now and get your premium Clear TV 4K Ultra HD antenna for only $19.95. It's backed by our 60-day money-back guarantee. Order now and you can add a second Clear TV free. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's a $40 value for only $19.95.
I can't believe I get all these channels for free. Plus 4K Ultra HD, Clear TV is for real.
8 years ago, my daughter called to say she was expecting our first grandchild, but I never heard her say it. So a few years ago, Gina bought me a nano hearing aid. And now I love hearing Ryan call me Papa. And at only $297 for a full pair, they make a great gift for someone you know. Plus, call now and order one hearing aid, and Nano will give you a second absolutely free.
Call 1-800-238-2857.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you, as always, for being a big part of the show. Tomorrow, we're going to dig into some of the lingering questions we still have about COVID, masks, should we, shouldn't we ship vaccines to India, and so many other questions right now as states are struggling as to when and how to reopen and how quickly to do so. All that tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here. Hope to see you on RFL Tuesday.
IRS, open up.
The IRS is the most feared agency in the country and has the power to seize assets, garnish wages, and even put you in jail for back taxes and unfiled tax returns. Don't be a victim. Call Kick IRS right now and let us kick